I'm keen though to talk about, because I know that property was something on the roadmap for you, and I know that there was a bit of confusion, Nikki, in those initial conversations as well about, you know, what is the best approach, how do we do it? You know, you've got the potentially some levers to look at with family, you know, helping out and bits and pieces. Talk us through, you know, I suppose how you tackled that decision and what you thought of what that changed in terms of where you're at in terms of your property purchase pathway.
I mean, I guess before we started working with you guys, property wasn't something that we were thinking was going to happen anytime soon, just because that's a big commitment to make. And we were just too scared to make it, and we weren't sure whether it would be the right thing to do. Do we buy a forever home or do we buy an investment property? There were too many questions up in the air as well. So after talking to you, I think we have become a bit more open to the idea of it as well, and then how it also fits alongside in our portfolio as well, because we're not solely just going everything into property, but we're diversifying it and having it in property and having it in shares and stocks and whatnot as well. So having that diversified portfolio has allowed us to be more comfortable with the idea of entering property.
Yeah, I think the issue right now is obviously the property market is just so hot. It's a little bit disconcerting, just sort of seeing, I mean, you're seeing 90% auction clearance rates. You hear anecdotes of people buying during COVID and less than a year later, you know, making six-figure profits on it just because the whole market has kind of lost its mind. So, I mean, property is definitely a piece of the portfolio, a piece of the puzzle. It's just, I think being able to kind of rationalize it in the context of such an insane market right now is probably still an ongoing challenge for us, right? Because we're suddenly getting priced out of places that we wouldn't have been priced out of, you know, even 12 months ago, right?
So it's like 12 months ago.
Yeah, 6 months ago, or let alone 12 months ago. So that's probably the trickiest part of it all right now.
Yeah, definitely. I did a podcast with a real estate agent the other day, and he told me that one of his properties sold for $1 million over reserve in Bondi. So it was a $3 million. Well, the reserve was $2 million. It sold for like $3 million. So it's definitely hot. And it sounds like that's something that, you know, that there's no one knows. We don't have a crystal ball, unfortunately, in terms of where the property market's going. But we can certainly see what's driving what's happening at the moment with ultra low interest rates, increased borrowing capacity, everyone trapped on our beautiful country and not able to, wanting a bit more space and, you know, being more around at home. But so that's I suppose a timing issue that will be tackled at some point. But going back to what you said, Nikki, what was the shift? Do you think you mentioned knowing that you've got another portfolio outside of property that was part of what made you more comfortable to know that it was something that you should pursue, you know, market conditions willing in the not too distant future. What do you think? What else do you think drove that change, that shift in your mindset?
I think it's just also having the support there and knowing that there's other people in our team, and we wouldn't just be doing it by ourselves. And you guys have great, you know, connections with mortgage brokers, buyers agents if we need and whatnot. So knowing that we have all of that there for us makes it a lot easier to approach us. For example, if we were just to do it ourselves and we were to, because we wouldn't know where to go, we wouldn't know what to do.
I think by nature we're probably a bit more risk adverse compared to some other people. So just knowing that we can turn to pivot, knowing that there's an array of expertise there and support that we can lean on whenever we want to, and give us that kind of confidence and that assurance that, you know, as best as possible, that this is this decision that is right for us. I think that's what kind of allowed us to go, this is the path we'll go down.
Yeah, and I think that just knowing that there's nothing that you've missed, because sometimes there's you don't know what you don't know, and you want to do some stuff, and you know that it makes sense, but then when it comes to shelling out $500,000 or $1 million or more, that it's like you say, that the fear of making a mistake, it escalates, and it often becomes paralyzing unless you've got people there to. No, there's nothing there. We've done this before. These are the issues. Making sure that all of the bases are